When I was younger, I used to play a lot of Pokemon games. I wanted to create new species of Pokemon of my own, but my drawing skills weren't great. I watched a few videos and read a few tutorials on how to become a better artist. I practiced for around 6 months, but the quality of my images was still shockingly bad. I knew that if I wanted to be better at drawing, it would take years of continued practice, effort, and motivation to get to the level that I would be happy with. I read about the 10,000 hours theory, that it takes around 10,000 hours at something to master it. That was all very well and good, but I didn't want to be good at drawing, I just wanted to create my own Pokemon. The act of drawing itself was never enjoyable to me, as the end projects never lived up to my own expectations. So, I'd never make it as an artist. It just wasn't in my skill set, and I was resigned to the fact that drawing wasn't for me. Drawing still isn't for me, but now with the invention of AI image generation, I no longer need to have that skill. I can go straight to the end result without having to put in the hours of work. And the quality of artwork produced is far beyond what I'd ever have hoped to achieve when I was younger. The skill required to produce images, those years of practice, that hard work and motivation, is no longer required. Now, as soon as you have an idea, with just a few words, you can see a visual representation of that idea. Imagination is no longer bound by skill or time, it is at your fingertips. In the space of 2 hours, with AI, I created over 1,000 new Pokemon, just for fun. The world now is completely different from the world I lived in when I was younger, or even a few years ago. Today's technology allows anyone with an idea access to creation beyond their own means. What would have taken me several years of hard work, I managed to achieve in only a couple of hours. I used AI to make 1,000 plus new Pokemon. Let's talk about what this means for the industry. Creating images with AI is not a skilled process. Anyone with access to a computer can create anything they can imagine. All you have to do is write a prompt and press a button. There are a number of widely available image generators which all operate in a similar way. But what does this mean for the future of art, games, and society as a whole? Let's take a deeper dive and see what the ramifications of this technology are, where we're at now, and where we may be in a few years' time. 64,000 years ago, a Neanderthal pressed his hand against a wall of a cave, creating a red hand stencil on it. This is the first piece of art that we have record of ever existing. There are many more cave paintings dating back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors that have been discovered, showing how artistic expression has played a part in our history for thousands of years. Since the Renaissance, art started to become commercialized, with pieces being sold on the global art market commanding high prices, all purchased by the elite of society, most of which pieces are now displayed in museums across the world and known as great pieces of our art history. With the invention of photography and printers, suddenly you could make a copy of any piece of art and create as many copies as you had resources for, expanding artists' work into everyone's homes, not just those that could afford the original copies. Over the past 40 years, with the digitalization of art, the distribution of art has never been easier. You can go on any website and view photography, traditional or digital art, with a click of a button. The product and medium have changed throughout the years with the introduction of paper, canvas, pens, pencils, and paints, and then digital tablet pens. But the essence of creativity has stayed fairly consistent, that is until recently. In 2014, a new type of art was created that over the next few years took the internet by storm. These types of art were known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. Initially, they promised a new way to authenticate and monetize digital art. However, the resulting influx of countless images labeled as collectibles had unintended consequences. Many of these images lacked artistic intent and were created solely to exploit the hype of the emerging market and generate quick profits. While the premise of NFTs was noble, the oversaturation of the market and use of cryptocurrency for purchase alienated a lot of potential buyers and diluted the reputation of the NFT market as a whole. Most of these images were procedurally created. By harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, artists now had the ability to break free from the limitations of static images. AI algorithms could generate a seemingly endless stream of unique variations which could be marketed and sold to whoever knew how to buy them. AI art generators at the time were very specific in their output and required a lot of software knowledge to use and produce images. so remained quite a niche product for a couple of years. With the integration of large language models, cloud-based resourcing, and web-based user interfaces, the tools of creation have gone from the few to the many, as you now no longer need to have any software knowledge to access and create using this medium. NFTs created artificial digital scarcity, and while they are still popular today, with how easily it is for anyone to create their own art, will they continue to hold value in a society that can create whatever they want, whenever they want? The integration of AI in the creative process raises important questions about the role of not just generative art, but also the traditional artist. While AI serves as a powerful tool, it can be argued that it lacks the intentionality and emotional depth of a human artist. It is a sore subject to most traditional artists, which many overnight had their industry and means of making a living uprooted by what some would argue was a lesser product that lacked the same quality and emotion that a traditional artist could produce, but had the advantage of producing at scale and cheaply without the skill set of a traditional artist, which often in business is the most important factor. And while it could be argued that the quality of AI art is not yet at the level of a talented traditional artist, the progress and innovation over the past few years has led to artworks which are arguably indistinguishable over their traditional predecessors. There is still a role for humans in this new world at the moment. When used collaboratively, AI and human artists can explore new ideas, expand artistic boundaries, and redefine the concept of authorship in art. The partnership between human creativity and machine intelligence gives rise to a new era of artistic collaboration. But will the emergence of AI art make the traditional artist obsolete? Well, it's too early to say. It depends how it develops over the next few years. But as the models improve, it certainly looks like it's headed in that direction. Or at least the weight of production looks tipped in the favor of AI art. There is also the speed to competency aspect. Will future generations draw in the same way that we did? Or spend hours creating art when the availability of AI art is so much better than what would be the formulative years of a traditional artist? Will we even have artists in the future, now that the time spent in practice is overshadowed by the ease of use of a professional AI product? Or will the nature of the traditional artist change to accommodate this new tool? These are all important questions as AI art starts to gain a larger market share. Currently, AI art has a number of limitations. It struggles to keep consistent characters between generations. It doesn't quite completely match all the aspects of long, complicated prompts. And some would say that it lacks creativity due to only being able to generate new work off an existing pre-trained set of data. But this may change in the next few years as the technology advances. What is clear is that the role of the traditional artist has now vastly changed. The concept of infinite variation challenges traditional notions of scarcity and uniqueness in art. It disrupts the traditional art market by redefining what it means to own and collect digital creations. This cultural shift invites us to reconsider the value we place on art, the boundaries of creativity, and the relationship between artists and their audience. As with any new technology, AI art presents ethical considerations and challenges. Issues surrounding intellectual property rights become increasingly complex when AI is used to create derivative works based on existing franchises or copyrighted material. Striking a balance between artistic freedom, copyright protection, and fair use becomes paramount as AI continues to shape the creative landscape. That's if copyright can even exist in a world of infinite creation. Copyright traditionally limits the ability to earn a profit from someone else's work. If a consumer can produce the product for themselves via generative tools, without the need to purchase the product, where does copyright apply in this situation? If, for instance, the likeness of the Mona Lisa had robust copyright protection, and I created an exact brushstroke replica of it at home without any intention of selling or distributing it, would that action violate copyright laws? How could such a situation be effectively regulated and enforced, especially considering if I used a tool to create various artworks, not solely that particular piece? With the emergence of new AI tools, the dynamic between producers and consumers significantly changes. There is also the aspect of who owns the copyright to AI-produced art. Depending on the platform you use today, Most AI tools have a paid and free version, with varying levels of intellectual property rights depending on which version you use. However, it's debatable whether AI-produced art is even eligible for copyright protection. According to the U.S. Copyright Office, only works that are created by human authors can be registered and protected by copyright. This means that works that are created solely by AI without any human intervention or input are not considered original or expressive enough to qualify for protection. The ever-changing legal landscape leaves much for interpretation, and so far different governments have different rules on what constitutes copyright. We will need to see how this plays out over the next few years, as currently governmental policy is behind the trend on anything to do with artificial intelligence. In the gaming world, the integration of AI-generated art opens up a realm of infinite possibilities, particularly in terms of asset creation. In the future, this will mean that players can experience an unprecedented number of original assets within a game. With AI algorithms generating a vast array of unique visuals, players can immerse themselves in a world where no two assets are exactly alike. The combination of procedural levels and on-demand content creation has the potential for endless gameplay. Procedural level generation algorithms can dynamically create new levels, ensuring that each playthrough offers a fresh and unique challenge. This, coupled with the infinite abundance of AI-generated assets, means that players can engage in games that seemingly have no end. The concept of games without an end raises fascinating possibilities. Traditional games often have a finite number of levels or a predetermined storyline, limiting the longevity of gameplay. However, with the integration of AI-generated art, procedural level generation, and large language model NPCs, games can continually offer new ways to play. This endless variety ensures that players remain engaged, with each session presenting novel experiences. The notion of games with no end but ever-evolving gameplay has significant implications for game developers and the gaming industry as a whole. It challenges the conventional notion of games as discrete products and introduces the concept of games as ever-growing platforms. This shift may require developers to adopt a long-term mindset. This model encourages ongoing player engagement and potentially opens new revenue streams. Games would most likely adopt subscription-based models, allowing players to access a constantly evolving world of content. This not only provides financial stability for developers, but also fosters a stronger sense of community among players who can explore and engage with a shared, ever-expanding universe. Whilst subscription services aren't always ideal for the consumer, if the game does offer infinite expansion, then it would make more sense to have this type of model than some of the games that incorporate it today. This paradigm shift does also present its own challenges. The demand for new and unique content places increased pressure on developers to continually innovate and generate fresh experiences. Balancing the creation of new assets and procedural levels with maintaining gameplay balance and quality becomes paramount. It requires careful consideration to ensure that the never-ending game experience remains enjoyable and coherent. The gaming industry has already been grappling with the issue of microtransactions, where individual assets can demand exorbitant prices, often reaching $30 or more for a single accessory. However, as we enter the age of infinite assets through AI-generated art, there is hope for a transformative shift in industry practices. The introduction of infinite assets challenges the current monetization models prevalent in the gaming industry. With a virtually unlimited supply of unique assets, the need to charge exorbitant prices for individual items becomes less justifiable. Players can expect a more equitable system where the value of assets aligns with their inherent quality and rarity, rather than arbitrary pricing structures. The emergence of infinite assets presents an opportunity for the gaming industry to reevaluate its reliance on microtransactions. Instead of charging players for each individual asset or locking content behind paywalls, game developers can adopt more player-friendly approaches. This might involve implementing fair pricing structures, offering comprehensive access to content through a single purchase, or exploring alternative revenue models that prioritize player satisfaction over maximizing profits. Although this is all very optimistic, as the skill-to-creation barrier gets eroded, the companies that continue to profit will be the ones that best meet the customer's needs. The gaming industry is one of the biggest media industries in the world, with AAA games commanding multi-million-dollar budgets and several years of work with large teams required for each game installment. With AI tools increasing productivity and the rise of more immersive worlds due to their features, it will be interesting to see how much more of a market share the gaming industry takes, and what role gaming will play in our lives when more free time is available as industries start to scale back on the required amount human effort needed to produce the same or greater levels of productivity. The next frontier in AI-generated art, which ties into the premise of this video, lies in 3D model generation. While it may initially appear to be a more complex undertaking, the principles behind generating 3D models can be broken down in a similar manner as 2D pictures. By leveraging AI algorithms, developers of the future will be able to generate a vast library of 3D assets that exhibit the same infinite variation as their 2D counterparts. This creates exciting possibilities for creating immersive gaming environments with diverse and visually stunning 3D models. The adoption of AI-generated 3D models can revolutionize the way games are developed and experienced. Game developers can streamline the asset creation process, significantly reducing the time and resources required to produce high-quality 3D models manually. This efficiency can translate into faster game development cycles, allowing developers to focus on enhancing gameplay mechanics and delivering more engaging experiences to players. The accessibility and versatility of AI-generated 3D models will enable smaller game development studios and indie developers to compete on a more level playing field. They can leverage the vast pool of AI-generated assets to create visually striking games without the need for extensive in-house design and modeling resources. Whilst this technology isn't available publicly yet, we are seeing rapid progress in the world of AI, with the initial models for video generation being released as we speak, and it will be only a matter of time before the world of 3D is next. The rate of change and advancement over the past few years has been astonishing, from digital art, text-to-speech, chatbots, and the ever-closer sparks of AGI. In a few years, the world as we know it will be significantly different from the world we live in today. So hold on, because it's going to be a wild ride. Today I created 1,000 images just for fun, which even a few years ago would have taken years to make. If we see the same level of progress in other areas as we have in image creation recently, then the skills that we used to require in multiple fields will no longer be needed to produce the same level of output. This makes for an exciting future and raises many questions about our role in it. Hopefully, the future will bring vast improvements for everyone on the planet. Only time will tell. Thanks for watching. For everyone growing up beyond this point in time, this technology, like all progressing technologies, will be old news. But for this brief moment, what we have today shows a glimpse of what the future might look like and where it will take us. Consider this. While the rest of the generations are playing, we really are in a new era of unlimited creation.